Welcome to your Daily Writing Habit, episode number 212. If you are writing a book or thinking about it, or maybe you've started writing your book and are having trouble finishing it, or maybe you're at the stage where you need help reaching your readers to let them know about your book, you are in the right place. Good morning. Happy Saturday. I'm your host, Christine Whitmarsh. If you're looking for me online, look for Christine Inc., I-N-K. Each day, I share with you the writing habits I've learned over my 18 years as a ghostwriter, book coach, and author. I have found that three things in particular really have a huge impact on your success as an author. And those three things are writing fundamentals, productivity, and mindset habits. Let's talk content today, because the reality of social media, in fact, I skipped over today's quote, as you'll notice, because I have so much to say today. The reality of social media and the internet now, it is loud out there. And to be heard, and I've talked about this before, so my regular listeners are like, I know, we know. But to be heard, we must all be producing a consistent and constant flow of content to speak to our readers, which on some level seems unfair. It's just like, all right, I just wrote a 200 plus page book. That's not enough. You need me to write more? Now I need to write blog posts and emails and social media content. Well, yeah, sorry, that's the truth of the situation. But as I've mentioned in the past, hey, at least as authors, we have a huge and almost blatantly unfair advantage over others in the same boat, like business owners and brands and all that. We know how to write, and we actually like doing it. Imagine being someone in business who doesn't like to write and maybe isn't very good at it, but this reality is just as true for them as it is for us, that they need to be producing content to be heard. And I know a lot of my fellow entrepreneurs and business owners, they struggle with that because they know this, but they just don't like it. Excuse me. So that's the best I can say to comfort you. At least we all know how to, and presumably, most of the time, we like to write. Admit it, we do. With that being said, as authors, what are we supposed to write? What should we write to connect with our readers? So here are three content ideas to play with that you can use to create content for your readers. Number one, excerpts. This is the most obvious one. I mean, you just wrote a book. You have a veritable vault of content at your fingertips. So if you think of things like LinkedIn articles, and I've done an episode here before on the power of LinkedIn, especially now, it's only getting bigger by the day. And I think I read the stat has probably gone up since they published it, but it was something like 1% of LinkedIn users have ever published an article. And that for me is the biggest way to gain visibility in my network. So as an author, you have a book. You have like 50,000 words plus. With novels, it's closer to 85,000 words of content that you can use to fashion into LinkedIn articles. That's huge. You look at websites like Medium and Thrive Global and all sorts of other online publishing portals. Other people are struggling to write a steady flow of articles, and here we are as authors, and we have tens of thousands of words. So excerpts are a fantastic way to drive traffic to your book. Your hopefully what you have an author brand website. Just make sure you have a short. I recommend like a 2 to 3 sentence bio that is very consistent at the end of all your LinkedIn articles that links people on LinkedIn. How many times can I use the word link? That links people back to your author website. So great way to do that from LinkedIn. So excerpts, huge type of content that we have at our disposal as authors. Number 2, quotes, of course. Motivational quotes, either from your book, and yes, it's okay to quote yourself. You're a thought leader now. You're an expert. So we don't just always have to quote Mark Twain, Walt Disney, and George Bernard Shaw. We're authors too. We get to quote ourselves. So you can quote yourselves in those little social media memes and graphics that we see all over the place. And, yes, you can intersperse quotes by others as well. So that for me, that's like my I'll admit it, that's my easy go-to content. And I use branded templates, which mean if you recognize my social media graphics, you'll see my logo, a certain type of font, my color palette that matches my Christine Inc. brand color palette, which is dark blue and orange. So you'll see, hints of that throughout the brand template. So when you see my social media quotes, hopefully you'll recognize that they're from me because I try to make them look similar. So that's kind of my go-to. I try to create at least one of those every day because you can put that on Pinterest and Instagram and Twitter. You do different ones, for different audiences. LinkedIn is a lot more words-based, so I'd kind of hold back on the memes on LinkedIn. That's not a meme network so much. So really stick to the more visual networks like Facebook, of course, more informal, Instagram and Pinterest. Those are really good for the memes. So quotes, motivational quote memes, that's the second type of content that you can be producing every day, presumably, as an author. Number 3, have you thought about doing an Amazon Alexa flash briefing like the one you're listening to now? So even if you're listening to me on your smartphone, on your iPhone or your Droid or Google Play, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, know that this recording, this broadcast of your daily writing habit that you're listening to originates as something called an Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill, which means many of you are listening to me on your Amazon Alexa device. And thank you for doing that, by the way. But for those of you listening to me on podcasts, I just wanted to let you know that's where it all began. And this is a huge thing that's happening right now, the audio revolution. This is the direction that content is moving toward. YouTube, of course, has been huge in recent years and before. But an Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill, that's what it's called. This is an inexpensive and easy way of having a short daily conversation. So like about 5 minutes long. You guys know how long my daily shows are. About 5 minutes long a day, which is much shorter than the traditional 30 to 60 minute long podcasts. And those, 30 to 60 minutes and with guests and, that takes a little bit more arranging and coordinating. Here, I talk into a microphone to you guys for about 5 minutes every single day. And it's a fantastic way to have a conversation with your audience. So what can you talk about? That's the next question. Nonfiction authors, the obvious one, your subject matter, the thing you wrote a book about, whether it's a self-help book, a business book, your memoir, you're an expert in the material that you wrote in your book. And with a book out now that you can reference, that gives you even more credibility as the host of your own flash briefing / podcast. You're being beamed into Amazon Alexa devices in people's homes all over the world. Now you can say, I'm the author of this book on this subject, making you more of an expert. So audio is only going to get bigger as a communication medium. There's no time like the present to get on board and establish your expert author voice. And I look at it this way. There are a lot of other people like me out there. I'm not delusional. I don't think I'm the only one. There are a lot of book coaches, ghostwriters, and other book writing experts, and they all undoubtedly have amazing expertise and wisdom to share with authors like you. But I, at the moment, have a 212 episode jump on them. And the same is true for you and your subject matter. Even if your book is about something that has been written about ad nauseum, or especially if it is, having a daily flash briefing on people's Amazon Alexa devices, and again, from there it goes to podcasts, where all the podcasts are played, that gives you a way to establish a brief but daily presence in your reader's life to reinforce the value of your book. And not to forget my fiction authors. So what can you guys do in way of a flash briefing? Well, you might have to use your imagination a bit, but here's an idea. Start with your characters in the world you've created for them. Are they experts in anything? Or more specifically, ask yourself this. If your characters were going to host a brief, approximately 5 minute long daily podcast, what would it be about? That's kind of a fun idea. Where there's an author will, there's a creative way. So if you'd like, I know I shared a lot of information, maybe sounding very technical today. It's actually much easier than you think. But feel free to email me through my website if you want more details about anything I've talked to today, especially about the flash briefings and how to get that set up and all that. Christine-Inc.com. So Christine-Inc.com. I'd be happy to help you out. Thank you for joining me here on Your Daily Writing Habit, where I'm helping you write and finish writing an awesome book. And be sure and drop by my Inc. Authors group on Facebook or LinkedIn for motivation, accountability, book writing, publishing, resources, and more. And if you know someone else who wants to write a book, please let them know about this show. Thank you, and until tomorrow, happy writing.